Hi guys. First of all, I just want to take a moment to thank my my followers, everybody who's supported me so far. It means a lot that there's a lot of people that have reached out. It's been a hard month or so, changing jobs, etc. I've had a really horrid time. It's been awful. Getting settled into a job and then things change, and the stress of money, the children, supporting the house and etc. Feeling like a failure is probably quite a big deal for not just my mental health, but a lot of men's mental health. That a lot of men are pride and they don't talk basically, and I do tend to shut down quite a lot, and it does cause issues in relationships. But I just want to say it is okay to talk, and I've got through the bad times, hopefully, and things are on the up now. So I will be back with everything, and I just want to say, thanks guys for all your support. I am here for anybody. If anyone wants to reach out, if there's people going through bad times, like we all do, I'm here. Like I say, reach out and I can have a chat. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them things where people do need to stick together, and we all do get through stuff. So just want to say thank you for everyone supporting, and amazing as usual. So cheers guys. On with the podcast.
In the heart of Leeds, the rhinos stand tall. With every episode we break down the wall. Through laughter and pain, we share every dream. In this podcast flow, we're the ultimate team. Feel the rhythm of hope, feel the beat of the fight. Together we rise, illuminating. Mighty rhinos, hear our call. Through trials and triumphs, we stand tall. In this podcast journey, we find our way. Together united, brighter days that stay.
Welcome back to a Mighty Rhinos podcast.
We are back, everybody. We are back. Thanks for sticking by us. Yes, we are back. It's been a long time overdue. As everybody is aware, it has been a long time. Been very busy with other projects going on. It's been fantastic with other things just to keep my mind at ease. But yeah, we'll go straight into the Catalans game. So yeah, can't really fault us a side in the game at home to Catalans. So obviously you can see the team lineup. I had a pretty decent side out, to be honest. Obviously I've been AWOL, obviously, so I haven't had a chance to discuss the Newman situation. Still don't realistically know what's kind of happened about it. Obviously we just know that he's gone to Hull. He's out of favoured. Probably had a fallout with Brad Arthur. It's one of those things that he's going into the year anyway, so I'm not that bothered. I've kind of I'm not really asked about him now, if I'm being honest. He's a bit too cocky for me, and he's he's gone through some stuff on pitch that hasn't been great to watch. So obviously Jack Bird's come in, had fantastic games, scored a few tries. You know, I'm not going to fault the lad. He's putting his arm up and he's playing. Do I want a new centre? Yes, I do want a new centre for next year. I don't realistically. If Jack Bird gets the 3 shirt, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, he's not realistically played that bad. He's just taken a while to get into the team, etc. But I think he's found his feet now. I would realistically prefer to get a new centre, maybe a Super League centre if that's possible. You know, someone who's well liked in Super League and can do the job. I realistically would put my hand up and get Cam Scott. If it was up to me, I think Cam Scott would be a fantastic buy and slotting quite nicely in our attack. I think he'd be really good. Obviously, Peteriku, I think he's extended his contract with Rovers, so he'd have been another one that I would have taken. I know he's not young now, so there's that. But just anyone really. Do you know what I mean? We've got quite a good eye for talent in overseas as well. So, you know, who's to say we don't sign another Blatchy Miller, do you know what I mean? And have a centre there. You know, it's one of them, but we'll see. We'll see what we're seeing. Obviously, that's for next season. Obviously, we have had Chris Hankinson playing in the second rows last few weeks. I think he's slotted in there very nicely. Very impressed with his efforts. I didn't realistically think he was could play there, but he seems to play every position. You know, across the back line. He's a good fullback, good winger, good centre. I think he's played standoff or scrum half for us in a game or so, and he's a good goal kicker, to be honest. So I'm actually happy that he's there, and he's doing a terrific job. I actually do want him to stay now, if I'm being honest. I know he extended a contract for another year, so I don't know where his future lies past this season, but I would like to keep him if it were up to me. Callum Watkins still doing well. Danny Levi's impressing me still. Mikhail Iletsky, he could go now for me. I'm not that bothered, to be honest. I think James McDonnell, out of the lot of them, I suppose, is probably the only one that's still playing okay. You know, it's one of them as well for me. It's like, say, the thing with Harry Newman. This wire's doing my head in. It's the same thing with Harry Newman, and not just for Leeds or whatever. You know, for him as well. Like he obviously needs to get playing time. He's got to keep fit going over there. He don't want to obviously be stale, if that's the word, and you know what I mean, just not play. So he's got to play, keep fit, sort of thing. Like I say, McDonald's doing well. He's probably one that I'll be quite gutted about when he goes, to be honest, because I think we'll miss him. We'll miss that position. I think he gives us a lot that we've been missing. He's almost a little bit like he's taken over Reece Martin in that sort of area, because Reece Martin were a good hard runner of the ball, and McDonald seems to have taken that role. So, you know, I think he'll be a miss, if I'm being honest. I do believe it. But the game itself, I thought we were really good. Catalans are very hot and cold at the moment. You know, some weeks that they give it their all and they're not far off in games, and then there's other times where they get absolutely blown away. So you never know what sort of Catalans team is showing up. I mean, they did us last season at HEADINGLEY, so it was I think it was only right that we did them in this game. I think it's obviously a bit of a blowout than I expected. I didn't think we'd do 46 points, to be honest. We were close to nil them, to be honest. I think they only scored late on in game. So it's one of them. But like I say, we are looking very, very good. The best version of Leeds I've seen in a while, I'll be honest. And as much as we are super critical of his own team, that we want to keep striving to be the best as we can, I do personally feel like the teams need to match us now, because we're probably in a position now where I feel like we could win something in this position. Like we are playing very well, and for someone to beat us, they'd have to be obviously better than us, which I think a lot of teams are quite far off that at the moment. I think, like I say, considering how good Warrington have been this year, I think we're the only team to beat Warrington. So, and that game was that was my last podcast I did before I had a bit of a break. That was a very short one, and I'm pretty sure I was really poorly at that point as well. Shouldn't have really done one, to be honest. Yeah, we were close. Without that game could have gone either way. No one could have really said anything in that game, whether it had gone one way or other. But they're up, they're playing really well as well. So I think it's probably Leeds Warrington at the moment and probably Saints to see where all three of us are at the moment. Rovers are still trying to chase. So, it's one of them. But yeah, we'll just kind of keep going, don't we? Climbing that table. Sorry, not climbing the table, staying on the table. It's been, I do believe, the second week now that we've been top. Doesn't really matter in hindsight, but for a Leeds supporter, it's nice to see, considering we've not been top in a while. Not for this amount of time as well, a couple of weeks. I can't remember last time I remember Leeds being top of league, if I'm being honest. We've been so far off the mark that we weren't even nowhere near best team. So it's one of those, we always seem to go hot and cold as well in the season, and we play good, and then a couple of games we might not play good, and then we get beat, and then we normally then start chasing a little bit. I remember last season I think we lost a couple, and then we ended up coming strong at end of season and started working up the table again. So it's one of them, and I know Wigan's in that position now where they're needing a win. Is it 5 games in a row they've lost, or 4 games in a row they've lost? So they're there. But this thing that frustrates me is, if that were Leeds, we'd be gone and out sort of thing. But because it's Wigan, they're almost a bit like a Man City for me. Like, you can never write off Man City in a league, can you? Look at them now, like in Premier League, they're probably going to win league. After Arsenal have dominated all season. It's one of those, like, it's like with Wigan, I can never write Wigan off. I can never write Wigan off. They're going to be there and abouts. Probably grand final. I wouldn't be shocked if they got there. For third straight year. We know how good they are. On the day, or just in general, we know how good they are. Also, when you're playing that well, you get a bit of luck go your way, and I do think it'll happen. Do you know what I mean? But that's for another conversation. Yeah, I thought, like I say, I thought Leeds played really well. I thought defence were good. We've got a really tough game on Friday, Wakefield, which obviously we got beat in the cup. So that will be a hard game. As I discussed it with the boys on the other pod, we probably got the hardest game, I'd say, in the round, because you can't realistically. You could say Leeds, but on the day you don't realistically know, because Wakefield are also chasing from losing to Saints. Game just gone. So they're going to want to bounce back as well. Leeds are going to want to try and maintain. Also, probably in the Reds are going to probably want a bit of revenge from the Challenge Cup. So I think both teams have got a lot to play for in that game. It will be close. I do back Leeds to win that game. I think that's important for us to keep going, and not losing that. Not the lead, but just not losing that momentum that we've got going. We've since the Huddersfield game, we've just carried on. Do you know what I mean? We've definitely learned his lessons from the defence sort of side of things, and basically done the same sort of, 56-22, 46-4. We've basically done the same sort of scoreline, but we've just focused on us more defence. So, it's a great score, great points difference that we've got. I think we're on 172 now on points difference, which is very high for a Leeds team compared to the other teams at the moment. So yeah, I mean, this is a thing. This is what I like about the league. Everything's to play for still. Leeds to get a Leaders' Shield would be nice. It would be nice. Not gonna lie. Whether we win a grand final, obviously we're out of the Challenge Cup now, so that's not a possible thing. But grand final, Leaders' Shield and a grand final appearance, I'd be more than happy with that. I think we probably are good enough to maintain and stay top. It's just obviously whether that happens, and as much as people say it's not the be all and end all, it's where you finish, which it is, but we want it. We'd like a trophy. We'd like a trophy. Leaders' Shield is a testament to that. It'd show you hard work and being, dominant. What's the word? Dominant. Consistent. That's the word. Consistent. And you reap your rewards, don't you? So if we're the better team come the end of the season, then we deserve to have a trophy, don't we? So I'd take Leaders' Shield. I would. I'd take Leaders' Shield if that's the case. But thing that does worry me is we've got a lot of changes coming up, coming back of the season. So I do feel like there's going to be a bit of a reshuffle next year. I do reckon Sivo will probably stay. Ryan Hall, I don't know. Retirement maybe. Obviously, Ledsky's gone. McDonald's gone. Watkins may retire. Cameron Smith's off to Wakefield. There's a lot of bodies moving around. Brodie Croft, his contract's I think coming up. Ends coming up. There's a lot. So for me, I would like us to win something this year, just to kind of cement that we've had that sort of good team going. And then obviously we've got that question mark on Brad Arthur, haven't we, as well? Deciding what he's doing. But yeah, no, we've got a good team. We've got a really good team right now, and obviously we can only go off what we've got at this moment in time. So I do think the team's good enough to win something. Like I say, whether it's Leaders' Shield or a grand final appearance or even winning the grand final itself, I do think we've got it in us. We've definitely got the numbers. We've definitely got the interchanges. We've got people that can fill in for positions. We've got a good strong side. We have got a good strong side, and a lot of the players, especially with how good we're playing at the moment, everybody's digging in and everyone's playing for the shirt. Everyone's supporting each other. I don't realistically see any week players in there right now because we're all playing as a collective unit. Everybody's just kind of playing, and you're seeing us as a proper decent team. So there's no one really knocking us down of, right, he's a weak link, yeah, he shouldn't be playing. Everybody seems to be mucking in, and I think that's what makes a successful team. 1 to 17, 1 to 20, whatever it is, they're all putting their hands up and playing. That's where you win trophies, isn't it, and stuff. So it's exactly what OKR did last year. Everybody played well, interchanges, people swapped positions, etc. And everyone just played. It didn't matter where they were playing, as long as they were on the pitch. That's kind of all that matters. And I think that's a testament to Callum Watkins. I think a testament to Chris Hankinson, a testament to Keenan Palacia. They've all rotated around. Cameron Smith lost his captaincy. He's at 17 now, number 17. He's playing a lot better now than what he did, I thought, last couple of seasons. He's coming on and doing a job. Cooper Jenkins is probably one of the most underrated players in Super League. I think Cooper Jenkins is an absolute beast, and I think he's an absolute cracking signing. And I would love to see him stay for a long time. Maybe get a decent number. If I'm being honest, I would give him number 10 shirt, me, if it were up to me. I think he's absolutely smashing. Jenko, as people call him. But he's just absolutely phenomenal. Like, he really is good, really good player. And we don't normally sign good players from Gold Coast. I think it's Gold Coast that we got him from. Could be wrong. But he's cracking. He's cracking. He's had a fantastic Vegas game, fantastic Catalans game. He's just great. He's just a great player. He really is. Keenan Palacia is another one who's absolutely fantastic. He's fitting in and playing prop, playing loose forward, fitting in where he can, where he's getting put. Yeah, we've just got a really, really good, strong team, and everybody seems to be quite a utility player. Everyone seems to be mucking in and doing what they need to do. Lachie Miller, for me, has probably been one of the standout players this season. Like, he probably has more seasons, to be fair, but my God, is absolutely fantastic. Like I say, on the other podcast with the boys, I can't keep him out of my my weekly dream team, or weekly 13, as we put it. You can't take him out. He's absolutely second to none. I don't even want Bevan French. I wouldn't even want Jai Fields now. He's got that very similar attributes to him. I just think his footwork, his side step, his positioning. I just love the fact that when people grabbing hold of him, he has that thing where he rips, like, hands off and pulls away from a tackle, and then he's into another tackle and he's out of that tackle, and he's very nippy. He's very aggressive, and when he runs, he's very skillful. Yeah, he's the full article for me. And yeah, I just think he's absolutely outstanding. So obviously Brodie Croft as well. He needs a big shout out. I think he's been absolutely fantastic for the last few weeks. Definitely probably the best version I've seen of Brodie Croft. I think he's definitely playing at the moment like the Salford Brodie Croft when he got the Man of Steel. I mean, a lot of people don't think like this, and I totally get it. But when you actually think about it, the partnership Leeds have, we've got two Man of Steel. Well, we've got two Man of Steels side by side there. You got Brodie Croft and Jake Connor, who's obviously the Man of Steel at the moment, current Man of Steel, and Brodie Croft, who were ex-Man of Steel with Salford. So realistically, you've got the two best partnerships realistically there, and it's working. It's working amazing. So I can't fault us. I really can't fault us. But yeah, no, that's all I've got to say. To be fair, with the Catalans game, obviously the tries, were great. It was nice to say Ryan Hall to get a couple of tries in there. Sivo obviously scored again. It were more just the performance, to be fair, and more so for me just to kind of pop on and show my face again as well. For being away for so long, I'm sure it's about 5 weeks, something now that I've not been on. So, like I say, I'm very sorry about that. I know we've all got us problems and stuff, so I just, like I say, it's been, I've not been too hard on myself because I have been full on with this podcast since I started. I haven't had a break since I started it. I've been doing something at least, whether I'm messing with backgrounds or I'm doing podcasts or I'm editing stuff. I'm always got my hands on something. And this is probably, like I say, the first time, since I started it, which I started it last season, probably the first time that I've actually left it and not touched it. So, like I say, I can't be too hard on myself. I think sometimes you do need a break. But like I say, I have to say a big shout out to Carl and Gaz because they've definitely kept me going on the other pod. I think the reason why I've been on so much with there, and I wouldn't say I forgot about this one because, like I say, I've always said this is my main one. This is where I started. This is, without this one, I wouldn't have Carl and Gaz. This is where it all sprung from. So, but I do, like I say, I do think sometimes, or over the last few weeks, especially when you've got two great guys that you can bounce off and talk about rugby league, talk about your Rhinos team. It does feel a little bit better sometimes when you've got two people to talk to than just talking to a screen, because technically that's what I'm doing now. There's no one kind of giving me up back. Do you know what I mean? So I always feel like I'm always going to struggle with that, but that's just how it is. People will comment, people will talk to me if they want to talk to me. So we'll just go from there, like you say. But yeah, no, I do appreciate you all. Thanks again for supporting. And like I say, I will be back for the Wakefield game analysis. Talk about that game. Hopefully that will be a Leeds win. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. Take care.